All right, let's get into it. Today, we are cracking open the latest financial report from a huge name in the car world, Toyo Tires. We're going to cut through all the jargon, make sense of the numbers, and honestly, uncover a pretty fascinating story that's hidden inside the data. Let's go.
So, right at the heart of this whole thing is a real head-scratcher. It's a question that, kind of seems to defy logic. How is it possible for a company to sell more and more stuff, but at the end of the day, have less money in the bank? That is the exact mystery we're going to solve together.
So, let's kick off our investigation by looking at the headline numbers. Think of this as the front page of their report card and, yeah, right away you can see that something doesn't quite add up.
First, the good news, and it is good news. Net sales are up 3.5%. That's a huge number, 435.3 billion yen. This is exactly what you want to see. It means people are buying Toyo's products, demand is high, and the company is growing. You can't argue with that. It's a definite win.
But here's the plot twist. While all that money was coming in the front door from sales, the company's operating income actually went down by 5.5%. So more revenue, but less actual profit left over after paying the day-to-day bills. This right here is the puzzle we need to figure out.
Now, before we go any further, you might be hearing operating income and thinking, what is that? Well, it's actually super simple. The best way to think about it is with a lemonade stand. Your sales are all the quarters and dollars people give you for the lemonade, but your operating income is what's left after you pay for the lemons, the sugar, the cups. It's the real measure of how profitable your main business is.
So why did Toyo's profit dip? Well, the company points to two main culprits. First, rising cost pressures. That's just a fancy way of saying the price of their lemons and sugar went up. The raw materials they need cost more. Second is something called a change in product mix. So let's say your lemonade stand also sells cookies, but you don't make much money on the cookies. If you suddenly sell way more cookies but fewer high-profit lemonades, your overall profit can drop, even if your total sales went up. Makes sense, right? To really get what's going on, we need to pop the hood and look at the engine. Toyo isn't just one big company. It's mostly two different businesses. So let's put the tire division and the auto parts division side by side and see what's what.
And whoa, when you see it laid out like this, the difference in scale is just staggering. The tire business is the absolute giant here, bringing in over 400 billion yen. The auto parts business, much, much smaller. Now keep this size difference in your head, because it makes what we're about to see even more wild.
And boom, here it is. This slide explains the entire puzzle. Look at this. The massive tire division, the main engine of the whole company, saw its sales grow, but its profits fell by 6%. Meanwhile, the little guy, the auto parts division, was on an absolute tear. Sales grew even faster, and profits shot up by an incredible 24%. But because that division is so much smaller, its amazing success just wasn't enough to lift up the company's overall profit number.
Okay, so the profit story is a little gloomy. I get it. But that's just one part of the picture. To get a company's true health, you've got to look past just one quarter's profit and check its financial foundation. And for that, we turn to something called the balance sheet. And please, don't let the term balance sheet scare you. It's basically the same as your own finances at home. You've got assets, that's the stuff you own, like your house or your car. You've got liabilities, that's the stuff you owe, like your mortgage or a car loan. And the difference between those two is your net assets, or your equity. It's just a snapshot of your real financial strength.
And this is where we find some seriously fantastic news for Toyo. Their total liabilities, what they owe, dropped by almost 32 billion yen. That means they are aggressively paying down their debt. It's like taking a huge chunk out of your mortgage. It's a sign of incredible financial discipline.
And it's pretty simple math, right? When your debt goes down, what happens? Your own net worth goes up. Toyo's net assets grew by over 21 billion yen. This means the company's actual fundamental value is getting stronger. They own more of their business, free and clear. So all of this good news gets boiled down into one key number, the capital ratio. It jumped 4 whole points, up to 69.3%. You can just think of this as the company's financial health score. A higher number is always better, and this big jump shows a company that's becoming way more stable and resilient.
So let's just cut through all the jargon. In plain English, what does this mean? It means that while their short-term profits got squeezed, the company's long-term financial foundation is becoming rock solid. They're building a much stronger,
more stable base for whatever comes next. Okay, so we've looked at the confusing profit numbers and we've looked at the very strong foundation. Let's pull it all together now and figure out what this actually means for Toyo as they look to the future.
So here's the whole story in a nutshell. Demand for Toyo's products, it's strong. People want to buy their stuff, which is great. But for right now, their profits are getting squeezed by costs they can't fully control. The real genius move here, though, is their financial discipline. By paying down debt and making their balance sheet stronger, they are building a financial fortress. And that gives them a ton of stability and power to handle future problems, like negotiating prices or dealing with supply issues from a position of serious strength.
And that really leaves us with a big, thought-provoking question. This Toyo report is a perfect example of a classic dilemma in business. What do you focus on? Do you try to make as much profit as you can today? Or do you build a powerful, debt-free foundation that makes sure you'll be around for decades to come? It's a trade-off every single company has to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in.